fresh out the box.
Fresh California plums.
Welcome to another episode of Fresh Film Fridays, the podcast where two dudes pick the newest films streaming or in theaters and discuss them. Today we're talking about 2022's Bodies, 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 which was directed by Halina Regine. I'm your co-host, Alec.
Oh, I'm Eric. Just kidding, it's Justin.
Hey, I really thought that was Eric that time. I really did. Boy, it was a lot different than I was expecting it was going to be. I thought this was going to be like a slasher movie. It's not what that is. That is not what this movie is.
There was some slashing.
Was there? I mean, yeah. Did you see the trailer, actually, before you saw this movie?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the trailer is basically just like a compilation of the most cringy lines in this movie. It's like, you're gaslighting me, you're triggering me, like feelings are facts, it's just that, basically, just like with all these like crazy colors and stuff, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this movie. It's A24, it definitely gives the impression that it's a slasher, like there's a killer and, whatever. Not the case with this movie. This is kind of more of like a whodunit, like guessing game kind of movie, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wanted to start off with, the more movies that I watch, right, I'm starting to feel like if you and I were given a budget, right, mm-hmm. $500,000, $1 million, I'm pretty confident that we could make maybe not an incredible movie, but definitely profitable.
Just from watching this movie, that's what you think?
If you took out Pete Davidson from this film and just replaced it with a male actor that like nobody really knew, mm-hmm. would it do well?
I don't know if it did do well. I don't really know anything about this movie. So the box office was $13 million. There's no budget listed. I don't know. I mean, it's a good story. It's well acted. I mean, renting that house would have been very expensive. So there's like things like that would have made this movie, I'm assuming, a few million at least. Pete Davidson is a very big actor right now. I didn't recognize anybody except for Greg Lee Pace. Have you seen that guy in anything?
No.
He was in the Hobbit movies, I guess. He's the Elven King.
Okay, he's in The Hobbit, he's in Guardians of the Galaxy, he's also in Captain Marvel.
Yeah, so you don't recognize this guy? I mean, I haven't seen those movies, but he's in the Marvel movies.
Well, he wasn't like a human, so he had like makeup on and shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I read the bio for these people. Rachel Sennott, Alice, mm-hmm. says she graduated from Simsbury High School in 2014. I'm assuming that's the Simsbury in Connecticut.
Yeah, I know. I was going to tell Eric. I was going to be like, oh, Eric, there's a girl who's like kind of our age from Simsbury's in this movie.
No, but I'm saying like I'm pretty confident that I could write a script and it would do okay.
I think it's easier to say that than to actually put it into practice, man. Well, let's just talk about this movie then. Like, you didn't think that it was good, then, I'm assuming?
No, I mean, it was fine, but I'm saying, like, if you took Pete Davidson out and you took its major backing of A24 out, and if this was just a Peacock movie, I highly doubt anyone would have watched it. I feel like 50% of the people who saw it were like, oh my god, A24, like, it's probably really artsy and, meaningful. And the other 50% were like, oh, Pete Davidson.
Maybe. I don't really know. Pete Davidson's not really in this movie very much. So
I know, that's the even crazier part.
Yeah, if you came to see this movie for Pete Davidson, which I don't know why you really would, but if you did come to see this movie just for him, yeah, he's only in the first like 25 minutes or so, and then he's not in the rest of it. You didn't recognize the main blonde girl from Borat 2?
Dude, I don't remember.
Yeah, she's like the girl in Borat 2. It's like his little girlfriend or whatever in the second Borat movie. And she was amazing in that. So I was happy that like I get to see her like actually acting and not just being like a crazy person like in that movie. And I thought she did a great job.
Yeah.
Maria Bakalakavava. Yeah, she was good. And then I didn't recognize anybody else, like the other lead girl. I think her name was like Sophia, maybe the blonde haired
Sophie.
Yeah, I didn't recognize her from anything. Same thing with the girl from Simsbury or Emma Chase Sue Wonders. I didn't recognize like anybody, dude. But this movie, like, did you see the ending coming at all? We'll get to the ending, but did you see that coming at all?
No, and I think I only read like 2 reviews about it, and one of them was, which is why I picked this movie, it was like a horror comedy where they make fun of Gen Z, and I was like, you know what, that could be pretty funny. And no, I didn't see the ending at all, even though I usually don't, I don't foresee the endings. But all throughout the movie, dude, I was trying to like be like, who could it have been? And I, the movie tried to make it seem like Greg did it, the army dude who was actually a veterinarian. And then I thought like maybe someone's like like they went to the house to try to kill them, and then you think it's Sophie. And dude, the ending, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, don't listen to this. But yeah, the ending where she turned on the phone and you saw Pete with the sword, I was like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming at all. And that's what kind of, I don't know, like it's a cool ending. You're like, fuck. So just so anybody who hasn't seen the movie, basically, this group of rich, entitled kids are all hanging out at this massive mansion, and it's a hurricane party. So they're like, hey, like, let's celebrate a hurricane or whatever, or, like, hang out together during a hurricane. They start playing this game called Bodies, 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 which is kind of like a mafia or, like, murder mystery kind of game or whatever. And Greg and Pete Davidson get in a fight, so they leave or whatever. And then shortly after that, Pete Davidson comes back with his neck slit. And his neck is bleeding out, and everybody's like, oh my god, like, I bet it was Greg because he's not here. And then it's just like everybody questioning each other and giving reasons why they did it. Come to find out, Pete Davidson did it to himself because he was playing stupidly with this, like, samurai sword and slit his own neck. So the whole movie is just everybody accusing everybody, and it ultimately ends up that he just killed himself.
Yeah, again, just like that review said, a joke on Gen Z. It's funny because they all killed each other because they all kind of didn't like each other. And it was typical, like, I feel like it was very 2022 problems. Like, the girls didn't like the other girl's podcast, or she thought she was, like, stuck up and annoying, or, like, whatever. And so they all just killed each other, and they all thought they were best friends. And then the second part was, I don't know if they did this intentionally or not, but I kind of thought part of the mystery was you didn't know what was really happening because they were all really high for the entire time. Like, they were taking coke, they were doing mushrooms, they were doing Xanax and pills. And I was like, is anyone actually dying? Are they just really high? So that was cool.
Yeah, I mean, they all were just stoned the whole time. But this did really all happen, yeah. Yeah, and it does kind of start off with you find out Sophie and B, they are dating now. They both got out of rehab, I'm assuming, together? Because Sophie's a drug addict, but they're all drug addicts. But I guess Sophie's the worst of the drug addicts. So she went to go get clean. She has a new girlfriend named B, who I think she was a suicide survivor, right? Because she had, like, the things on her wrists that she was covering up.
I'm not sure. I had kind of a tough time understanding her, to be honest.
Right, well, anyways, she never said that, but I think she was a suicide survivor or whatever. So you put them together. They're dating now. They come to this party, and she's kind of like the fish out of water. B. She's the one that's, like, coming into this group of friends that all, like, hate each other. Apparently, like, none of them have anything nice to say about each other. Yeah, they're all undercutting each other. Yeah. So there's Emma, Alice, Greg, B, Sophie, and Jordan. And Greg is also new, and he's dating Alice. And Greg's like 15 years older than all of them. So there's that too.
Yeah, I kind of thought Sophie did it because she did have, like, a motive. Like, she went away to rehab and then didn't talk to everyone for a few years, and I kind of thought she was coming back and drugging everyone and then killing them to kind of, like, get her revenge for being the outcast, which she did unintentionally kill Emma because she gave her a bunch of pills, and then Emma fell down the stairs and, like, slammed her skull on a step and died. So technically that was her fault.
Yeah, that's 100% Sophie. She killed Emma, like, for sure. And I wish they showed that, but I don't know. I guess and they needed another layer of mystery.
And then B, in defense, killed Greg because, I don't know, the girls were kind of in a panic. And I felt like that scene was a little corny because Greg was getting super defensive and, like, picked up a knife. And I feel like if anyone was in that situation, I would just be like, whoa, guys, like, tell me what happened. Instead, he was like freaking out and being like, ooh, and they kept, like, playing the game. He was like, I killed you, and then you killed them, and then blah blah blah. And I was like, Greg, they're not joking.
Well, I know, but all they had to do is just really sit down and be like, all right, hey, wait, like, let's actually just talk for 1 second, like, because you'd think why would he just be laying there if he just killed somebody? Like, wouldn't he still be looking for them? Like, all this stuff. The whole movie is basically just a lot of misunderstandings.
It's the entire movie is one giant misunderstanding. That was all caused by Pete Davidson, who was coked out, like, twirling this machete blade thing, and just happened to cut his throat. And then they tried to find who the killer was, and then they all just started, like, killing each other and dying. And then Jordan somehow found a gun and then shot Alice. And I knew someone else was going to die the second they were like all dogpiling on top of each other with a gun. I was like, this isn't going to end well.
No. Yeah, so I mean, that's the thing. I don't like on the surface level. This movie is just you think it's a slasher, but it's actually a whodunit, and then you find out at the end it's nothing. But the overall satire aspect of it being like a satire on Gen Z and just like social media and TikTok culture and all this bullshit that's happening right now. That's what I think is really what this is about. It's just kind of like showing how cringe-worthy the youth of America is right now. Not all kids are like this, obviously, but I think this also has a layer of like entitlement. Like all of these kids are rich kids, and they even say that. They're like, we're all rich, but you guys are like rich sort of thing. So these are just people that like, you probably, I didn't like them. I didn't like any of these people.
Yeah. I was surprised by how long their phones lasted with flashlight on. And speaking of which, when B was running away from Sophie and Jordan, she was like running through the dark house and then she hid in a room and her flashlight was still on.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are you doing? And then, I don't know, everyone was just overreacting a lot, which I'm assuming was because they were high.
Maybe it's because they're high. Maybe it's just how the youth is now, Justin. We don't know. Do you hang out with a lot of like 22-year-olds? I don't.
No.
I mean, also, most of these people are actually older. They're all like kind of in their late 20s, but I think they're all playing younger or whatever.
Yeah, Sophie's 98. So was that 24?
24. Okay, so she's probably the youngest. Like, dude, Pete Davidson's like not that much younger than us. Like, let's see, he's probably like almost 30 now, right?
93, yeah.
Yeah, he's 29. Yeah. So he's only like 3 years old or younger than us. But yeah, I don't know. I just I didn't really like the characters. I did like the twist at the end. I thought that was pretty interesting. I did laugh at a couple lines that actually really got me. I like how she does the podcast and like she's like, yeah, we all listen to your podcast, and I was like, oh god, it's so cringe. But the other thing that really made me laugh is when Pete Davidson was walking with Sophie, and he's just like, she's kind of weird. She's like, oh, here's your bread, David. Or like, whatever. Does the impression over here. Like, I bought you bread. What do you think was up with that bread? What's up with that?
I don't know. What do you mean?
Like, why is that even a thing? Like, she like goes back to the car and is like, I gotta get that thing.
Oh, the zucchini bread?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they were just trying to make her seem weird and kind of like the outcast of the group. Because, I mean, these people have mansions and they're clearly rich, and she brought, zucchini bread.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to look for, like, the deeper meaning here. Like, I feel like I missed something that will hit me the next time I see it, maybe, but...
The Gen Z jokes with Alice were very good when they were like, do you even know Greg? Like, what's his middle name? What's his last name? And what does he do? And she's like, it's only been 2 weeks. Like, we don't just, like, tell each other our middle names.
Yeah. No, there definitely were some funny lines. And I think it's just funny because it's like, they're kind of, like, picking it apart. Also, like, the line where, where she's just like, feelings are facts. Like, no, facts are facts. And she's like, has a gun. And I was like, oh, okay. So, like, they're poking fun a little bit at it, too. So... I thought it was good. But I don't really know much about the director. Helena Regine. She's Dutch. She's from Amsterdam. Interesting.
Apparently she's known for a lot of things, but Valkyrie with Tom Cruise, very good movie.
She directed that?
I don't know, it just says known for.
Oh.
I mean,
what?
I don't know what she did, but
yeah, maybe she's an actress in it. But yeah, so that's I don't know, good for her. That was good. She didn't write it. Who wrote it? Story by... Let's see. Has she done anything else? Yeah, not much, dude. So, A24 in 2018 acquired the rights to the horror spec script Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Story by. I wonder, like, how did this get made? Like, it's an A24 movie, so you're right. People are like, oh, like, I like the work they've been doing recently. They're my favorite production company out right now. But aside from that, if Pete Davidson... Actually, I wouldn't even see this just because of Pete Davidson. But let's say A24 had nothing to do with this. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what the hell the draw is for this movie. It's not a slasher movie, even though that's how it's marketed. No big star in it, except for Pete Davidson, I guess. Yeah. Why did you want to do this one? What made you pick this one?
I mean, they're both the reason, A24 and Pete Davidson. I figured it was an interesting movie. And then I mean, it got a 6.3 on IMDb, and it got an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. And that's
Right.
pretty high.
It is. That's why I'm like, damn. Like, I thought this movie was going to be really good. It's not bad, but it's just, I don't really know what the point of it is.
To make fun of the stupidity of young people, man. Had the fact that they're literally so dumb that all these best friends killed each other.
Yeah.
Like that one scene where all four of them were sitting back to back, like in the kitchen or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all you need to do is this until the sun comes up. That you can see in all directions, you know, but they kept like splitting up. Like one person would go somewhere and then the other girl was like, I'm going to check the breakers in the basement. I'm like, why are you going to the basement by yourself? Don't do that. And then it was very weird though. And Jordan called out B for this when B went upstairs to like change and she put makeup on and like use the water in the flower vase to like wash her face. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, there was a lot of weird stuff, and I don't even think that girl B was on drugs. Like, the only ones that seemed like they were doing coke were Pete Davidson and the girl who gets shot, Alice. Those are the only two that we ever really see doing it. And then Sophie does it later when all hell breaks loose, right?
I don't know. A lot of people. It doesn't show you what Sophie did, but I don't think B did anything.
No.
I'm not sure why the movie was like emphasizing her weird habits, but she put on like that fancy red sweater and then they called her out for wearing makeup, and it was just odd.
Yeah, there were a couple things that just didn't make sense. So I do want to see it again just to like piece it all together. But I'm reading here this one description. It was kind of funny. It was like, once the Wi-Fi goes out, it's like they start losing oxygen. And I was like, it's kind of funny.
They get dumber with less cell phone service.
Pretty much, that's what it seems like. That was the director said that. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, because it's just kind of like these people are so unaware of their surroundings, unaware of like human connection that they can't even sit there for 2 seconds and just be like, all right, guys, let's just have like a real conversation, not a surface level bullshit conversation. Let's just talk, because what is going on? Well, I guess the other thing is, how do they find out Pete Davidson killed himself? So what did he do? Like, take his phone, throw it in the mud or the pool or whatever when he slit his own throat? And then at the end, when Sophie and B are fighting, then they find his phone by accident?
Yeah, they happened to find it, and then it was still working, and then she unlocked the Face ID with his face.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that kind of doesn't add up about that is, if he was recording it, he would have never hit stop if he died.
Right.
So it wouldn't have saved unless it like was still open on the app and she just like rewound it. But that's thinking very technical. This one review title is pretty funny. It said bodies is boring.
Oh my god. Really? I didn't think it was boring because I genuinely wanted to know what happened. I was like, oh, well, like, who did this?
Most of the reviews are 6s and 7s that are like, don't take it too seriously, like it's a thriller comedy. And I mean, that's what it is. You know, I mean, if you see Pete Davidson on the cover, you have to know not to take it seriously. You just like, you have to.
If you see him on the cover, you just have to know you can't take it seriously. Yeah.
I mean, he's a comedian that was on SNL.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. I thought this was a comedy when I went into it. I knew it was like a horror comedy, but I didn't think it was going to be like blow my mind. I was surprised the reviews are as good as they are. I don't really know why they are. It's just a weird movie. So they're all drug addicts. One of them has to go to rehab. Doesn't tell anybody that she's coming to this hurricane party. It's just, yeah, dude, I don't know. There's just like a tiny disconnect. There's something missing to kind of just bring it all together.
I do think they hit the nail on the head with the time. This movie was 1 hour and 34 minutes.
Oh, yeah. If this is any longer.
Yeah, if it was, I feel like 15 minutes in either direction can really change a movie. If this was 1 hour 50, it'd be way too long. If this was 1 hour 20, I'd say, probably could use 15 more minutes of like slight character development, which there really wasn't any other than the brief history of how they're all friends, they're all rich, and then Sophie's the only one that went to rehab.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that was pretty sufficient for what this movie was.
Well, let me ask you this. I don't know if I remember this. Why does Sophie go to this party?
Well, if you remember, she didn't tell anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember how she found out about it.
There was a group chat or whatever, but she never responded to.
Oh, right. Okay. Which is also a little odd because if they haven't seen her for years, right? Like they said, like, we haven't even hung out with you for years and you were in rehab, you'd probably make a new group chat.
I don't remember if they said it was years, but it was definitely like a while or whatever. I mean, she had to go to rehab, so I'm assuming it was a few months at least. I don't know. But it's been a long time that they haven't talked. And so they made plans in a group chat about this hurricane party, which, if it's a hurricane party, it must have been fairly recently. Because, you know, they don't say like, hey, 6 months from now there's going to be a hurricane. So it must have been like pretty recent. But again, they don't ever, unless I missed it, they don't explain why they're going to this party.
Well, they just want to hang out.
I guess. I don't know. But why not respond to that? Like, hey, guys, I'm coming. It's just like you just show up.
Well, I think she didn't want to announce it because she wasn't really sure if she was invited. Because, again, it's been a while since they've all talked.
Yeah.
That's why they all were surprised when she showed up.
Yeah, oh yeah, they definitely weren't expecting her. So I'm just trying to figure out the motivation, I guess, for her to be like, I'm going to go introduce my new girlfriend and also, like, show up randomly and hope that everybody's cool with me. I don't know. It's a little weird. Also, the ending, this guy Max shows up out of nowhere, and he professed his love to Emma, and that pissed off Pete Davidson's character, but it doesn't really matter because everyone's dead now in the morning, except for Sophie and B, who we find out that Sophie was cheating on B, so there's all of that happening. But then this Max guy comes, and he's like, what happened? And then the movie basically just ends. Where do you think we go from here? Sophie and B are alive, everyone's dead, and Max walks in to find everybody.
Well, I'm guessing the police would come. Maybe they would get away with it somehow because they could explain they thought someone was killing people, and then B was just using self-defense technically because, you know, Jordan tried to shoot her with a gun. Jordan already killed one girl. And then this person, Greg, who they didn't really know, was kind of acting weird, and he picked up a knife, which was threatening. I mean, I feel like they could probably get away with it, but in terms of, like, the future, I can't see them, like, staying together and reminiscing about old times.
I mean, I'd be willing to bet almost anything that Sophie did cheat on B. It seems very likely. But yeah, I think they're all going to get arrested. I mean, B killed Greg. There's really not a lot of evidence to show that was self-defense. And the only other person who could claim it's self-defense is Sophie and B, who are the only two survivors. So it's kind of hard to piece that together. Sophie killed Emma. Again, no way to prove that they didn't do that. There's no way to prove that they didn't do anything except for show the video of Pete Davidson killing himself. There's really no way to prove anything else, unless there's cameras all over the house. But they all got shut off from the power, I'm assuming. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're going to jail. I think they're going to jail. Yeah.
I don't know. They're going to ship B back off to wherever she's from.
Oh, yeah. She's gone. But yeah, that was another thing that was weird. She's like, my mother has borderline personality disorder, so that's why she did what? B confronts the group revealing that she dropped out of college to take care of her mother who had borderline personality disorder. Okay. Yeah, we needed a little bit more about that. Because what the hell is she doing there? Who is she?
Yeah, well, that Jordan girl was like, I contacted the school and found out you never went there. And I was thinking to myself, like, how does that work? Like, if I called a university, right? And I'm like, hey, can I, like, get transferred to your admin department? And they, like, pick up and I'm like, hey, like, my name's Justin. Like, did blah, 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 like, go here last year? They'd probably be like, why are you asking?
Right. 100%.
They'd be like, we can't disclose that.
Right. You'd contact, it would be like, I'm sure there's like a person who works at every college who's like, yeah, I work in the registrar's office. When when jobs call us to confirm that somebody actually worked here on the resume, then I talk to you. Not some fucking random person calling. Also, how did she call them? I thought the phones were all broken. Or I thought there was no service because of the hurricane.
Yeah. That's a good point.
This movie's got some splaining to do. No, I want to see it again. I do want to see it again now that I know what I know and really pay attention. You know, this movie deserves multiple viewings, I think.
What did you pay to rent it? Yeah. I would watch it again, but not for a while.
Yeah, I'm not looking to watch this anytime soon, but I don't know. I'd be interested to just knowing what I know, how the mystery actually happens. I want to pay attention to every line of dialogue and all that stuff. Also a little bit confused. Where was the emotional support animals? You know? I was kind of expecting there to be like an emotional support dog or something. I don't know. I'm thinking of other like stereotypes of like Gen Z and stuff, and they didn't... I don't feel like they really hit the nail over the head too hard with the Gen Z stuff. Not like too hard.
All right. You got a 6.3. What would you give it out of 10?
I think 6.5.
Really?
I think it's a little bit better. I think it's a little bit better than 6.3. I don't know. It's original. What else can you compare this to?
I mean, the plot wasn't original. It was people trapped in a house during a storm.
Yeah.
There's a killer on the loose killing them. But the ending, I mean, I would never have expected that. It's funny because of all the characters to die like that, Pete Davidson. But I would give it, I'm going to go 6.
Okay.
Not bad. Definitely should check it out. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we ruined the fuck out of it. So if you haven't seen it and you're here, the surprise is over. But yeah, you're right. It is like the story's a lot like Clue or something like that. But the actual ending is very much just like, ooh, got me. Very much got me. Was not expecting that. I want to see Eric if he sees, oh, dude, I knew Pete Davidson sliced his throat with a samurai sword fucking 10 minutes into that movie. I knew that. I could see that coming a mile away. It's like, how did you see that coming? I need to know. Anyways. All right, well, you got any last minute thoughts on Bodies?
Nope.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you very much for listening in to our discussion on Bodies. If you haven't had a chance yet, we had Terrifier 1, which came out on Wheel Horror this previous Monday. And coming up this upcoming Monday is Gremlins 2. So check that out. We'll see you all next week with All Quiet on the Western Front.